Ahead on Times and Seasons, the message may be obvious, and it may not. Either way, it holds a spiritual dimension for the contemporary artist.
Because of advanced technology, there are so many new ways to get information, to be entertained, that we may be losing touch with the most important.
It's sad to say, but you just don't have parades to honor people for simply being good people. That is, unless you're from Morgantown, Kentucky. One day in the wonderful life of a remarkable woman. Next on Times and Seasons. Hello, this is Times and Seasons. I'm Bob Evans.
And I'm Susan Furness. Thank you for joining us. Do you remember what Clarence said? You remember Clarence, George Bailey's guardian angel in the classic Frank Capra film, It's a Wonderful Life. He said to George, "Isn't it funny how one life can touch so many others?" We've come across a real George Bailey, except her name's not George, it's Nyla. Nyla Morgan from Morgantown, Kentucky. No, they didn't name the town after her, but after getting to know her, it's easy to make that assumption. After several people told us about Nyla, we called her up and asked her if we could just spend some time with her to see why people feel the way they do about her. What we found is that it is a wonderful life for Nyla Morgan and in Morgantown. Even in the bareness of winter, it is easy to see why they write so many songs about Kentucky. This is Morgantown, Kentucky, Catfish capital of the world. Population 10,000 on the 4th of July, 2,000 on any other day. Among notable citizens, this woman.
Well, we sat around and we thought, well, now what do we have in Butler County?
I like that face. I like Nyla Morgan.
Green River.
Green River.
And we thought of the catfish.
Nyla is talking about the beginnings of the annual Green River Catfish Festival, but she could be talking about 100 other things that bear her huge imprint. For the majority of her 74 years, she has helped build a community from this historic home on the front end of town. It's almost like walking into a church. You somehow want to put on your very best.
Come on in and meet these people.
David Martin is the Butler County judge and one of the many leaders in this town that Nyla has pestered throughout the years.
I've seen her at times whenever the weather was be very cold or very wet and very rainy. And here she comes to the courthouse yard with a bundle of papers and maybe a flag.
There's Nyla Morgan, the patriot.
She'll be on the phone telling you, let's get ready down for Veterans Day, let's get ready for Memorial Day, let's get ready for 4th of July.
Not to mention the Kentucky Bicentennial celebration in Butler County, which Nyla directs. Then there's Nyla Morgan, the interfaith ambassador.
David, being a Baptist, and he's a deacon in his church, and they're very active in their church. And we had a day for David out at the Mormon church. And we brought in how many your former ministers? Four?
Nyla Morgan was raised in a proud, hard-working Kentucky family. As sheriff, her father poured a lot of bootlegged whiskey on the streets of Morgantown. Nyla's husband built the Green River Bridge that, for the first time, united the north and south halves of Butler County. He has passed on, and her 2 children have moved on. And Nyla just keeps keeping on in Morgantown. We asked her to show us around town, and she was anxious to show it off. First stop, Floyd's Barber Shop.
Hey, here, my goodness.
Floyd has shaped Morgantown heads for 35 years. He's been Nyla's brother for even longer.
She keeps you busy? Yeah, well, she would, yeah. If I did everything that she'd like for me to do.
This is Cecil Phelps here. How old are you, Cecil?
Yeah, 84 and 29th of May.
Could I tell you something about Pete here? His family comes from a long line of blacksmiths. Goes way back how far, Pete?
Farther than me.
You get the feeling that Nyla keeps the boys at the barber shop on their toes, don't you? Now this is what is sentimentally known as the Morgantown Mall, all 4,000 square feet of it. And this is the Morgantown Chamber of Commerce in action.
This is your first trip to Morgantown?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do you think about it?
It's real nice.
Thank you. Nice. We hope you'll come back.
If you don't know Nyla, and she doesn't know you, you just aren't from these parts.
I bet we're kinfolks. All Johnsons are related.
Yeah.
I want you to know this is an Abbott. And when you say Abbott, that means good people from down about Rochester, right?
You better believe it.
Uh-huh.
With a little mall hopping done, we asked to visit with the Morgantown mayor. Charles Black has been the only mayor here since 1972, though, like his sister, Nyla still refers to the mayor as Mr. Black.
You lied to me.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
How did I lie? How did I lie?
You told me you didn't know what was going on.
Well, I don't really know.
Oh, you know you
No, I still don't.
The mayor actually moved to Morgantown in *54 to be the high school's first band director.
We started
75
it that
kids
way.
with instruments,
Yeah.
none of them knew how to play.
I told all of them the first rehearsal I had, they said, what are we going to do? I said, everybody, I showed every group how to handle their horn and how to make a sound and one note, how to play one note. I said, all right, now when I bring my hands down, everybody blow at one time. That was the office noise you've ever heard in your life.
3 years later, the Morgantown
we
High
started,
School
but
band
that's the
was
way we
winning
started.
awards. Guess who spearheaded the drive to get the band started?
Well, she's just supported every decent project, every project that was worthwhile since I've been here from 1954 until today.
With y'all's leadership, quality people like y'all coming to town, that's the way that we felt about you. You know, we supported the things you did. They were worthwhile, and we was looking for leadership like that. Miss Black has been a really good influence in our young people, too. She teaches piano.
By now, you may have noticed a couple of things about Nyla Morgan. First, she is uncomfortable with praise unless she's the one praising. She leaves every person better for being with her. The more we want to talk about Nyla, the more she wants to talk about others.
Well, I think there is something positive about everybody. Uh-huh. And if it would help build their self-esteem any at all, it's good to point that out. I think the world is full of people pointing down instead of pointing up to the encouragement.
Well, it's been a nice visit at the mayor's house, but by the time Mr. Black starts talking football,
Missouri and Georgia Tech.
Nyla is anxious to check in back at the house by the road.
Y'all come back and see us.
The note says, just come on in if we aren't here. You can do this in Morgantown.
Well, I need to introduce you to these people right here. This is Maxine Bowker and her husband, Howard. And Maxine is one of my best friends from way back.
A friend that helped provide a gift that Nyla Morgan counts as one of her most cherished.
I want to show this plaque right here, Maxine.
Oh, yes.
See this Nyla Morgan Day?
I want to see that.
Yes,
Yeah,
Nyla
you see
Morgan
that?
Day, complete with a parade and all. Imagine that, a parade for a person who's never been to space, won an election, or signed a fat athletic shoe contract. That says a whole lot about Nyla Morgan and Morgantown.
That was a fun day, Maxine, and I certainly appreciate all you did there toward making that a successful day. Now, Maxine, this is, I understand, a nationwide TV program. What is it you'd like to say here?
Well, why is it a nationwide?
Is this a nation? What is this?
Being at a loss for words, Nyla decides it's time for some lunch.
Okay, we'll all eat catfish.
Naturally, what else do you eat in the catfish capital of the world? Hand in fin, Nyla Morgan and Kentucky Catfish have helped put Morgantown's big 4th of July celebration on the map. Ever since this is not the 4th, Nyla insists our crew heavily sample the town's specialty at the Hillside Cafe. As for Nyla, eating is only half the fun of being here.
How you, Dave? Man, you just a whole lot of you to love here. There's a whole lot of him to love, isn't there? Hold there, mister.
You doing all right?
Doing pretty good. You taking your mama out to eat?
Well, they caught me.
Everybody buried on this side are Johnson blood, are married into the Johnsons.
And everyone buried on that side.
They're just somebody.
What's that?
The long winter shadows suggest it is now late afternoon. Nyla and her granddaughter Donna walk this quiet hill that is the family cemetery. There is an awesome sense of history here, and Nyla knows it all.
This is Daniel Boone Johnson and his wife Hannah Elizabeth. She was also a Johnson. And this is the first one buried here. And this Granville Allen and this first Kentucky bloodshed in the Civil War. So they had a skirmish right down here.
It would be no surprise to tell you that Nyla's research of local cemeteries and family histories led to the creation of the Butler County Historical and Genealogical Society. It is important to her, a classroom of the living, not the dead.
I feel like I come from a good line, even though this man and woman Daniel and Hannah could not read or write. They were good people. He was known to be an honest man. Still, each day I ask Heavenly Father that I might be worthy of the name that's been given me.
What is that on there?
Gone but not forgotten. Gone but not forgotten.
Strange, isn't it? Each man's life touches so many other lives.
It is hard to predict whose lives will have such great impact as to change the course of community history. So many lives never move far from the sphere from which they start. Many only worsen it. It is hard to say what Morgantown, Kentucky would be like without that woman living on the side of the road. Surely it wouldn't be the same.
You know the old poem, let me live in a house by the side of the road where the race of men go by. The men who are good and the men who are bad, as good or as bad as I. I would not sit in the scorner's seat or be in the cynic's band. Let me live in a house beside of the road and be a friend to man. I think that very well explains Nyla Morgan for you.
Every day I ask Heavenly Father to let me do something good that day to be worthy of life. Because you know we're all taking up space here on earth, and we just might as well make good use of it.
And you know, Bob, people say they can spend days with Nyla and never hear a negative word out of her. And as you know, that in itself is pretty amazing.
It's too bad we can't all know Nyla a little bit better.
That's for sure.
Well, coming up on Times and Seasons, a trip to the art gallery for a contemporary view of spiritual dimensions.
And later on, pass the rakes and shovels and hold the lawyer jokes.